okay, trends of the aging world. So as we were talking, the proportion of elderly is increasing a lot radically in developed economies in general terms, like in Europe, especially in Japan. Therefore, the workforce is it's decreasing, right? But at the same time, in other emerging countries, it's totally the contrary in the emerging countries, right? Like countries like Brazil or in India, okay? China now is changing as well the one-child policy into two children.
At the Disney Shanghai?
Yes.
And it just opened like a month before I got there last year.
Disney Shanghai.
And what was amazing about it was all the really young managers running this place. I mean, like young, like 18, 19, 20, were the big bosses. You know, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
You just look young, right?
Yeah. I mean, the managers.
The managers.
The managers were like,
yeah, because the pressure of education in these urban areas, the more an urban area, the more opportunities you have as well to attend to school. This is something that now we see most of these urban areas. So India, okay, China, and Hong Kong, India as well. Those are the I could say like the top. The more dense, urbanized the country is, the more opportunities they have as well to get skill training. And the culture of China, for instance, it's goal-driven and big time. And already as kids have got a lot of pressure when studying. They have to be number one. If they are not number one at the age of 10, they will not be able to access to that university. So I'm not surprised that in Disney Shanghai, they had managers of 20-year-old kids or 24. Well, they do look younger as well. Maybe they are 24, but still.
They were like early 20s.
That's crazy. Bangladesh, that's crazy. 45,000 people living in, or almost 45,000 living in a square kilometer. That's crazy.
And that's in 2012. Talking that it can be nice and good depending on what emerging market you go, and that's one of the why some emerging countries can be more attractive than others. All right, it's the intellectual capability that they do have, the trained personnel that the workers that you have, how specialized they are. All right. Going back to the institutional voids, I'm going to, just for the students who were not here, okay? Please, student, can you read this, the best way to distinguish?
Is it okay.
The first one.
To distinguish emerging markets from developed markets is the
intensity
of institutional void.
Institutional voids, let's call them barriers, difficult to deal with, and it's based in like 4 dimensions. Directly related to the government, like the corruption, okay? The trust in the politicians, transparency of the government, society, the quality of the education, of course, related to what we were talking about, the intellectual capabilities, all right? Internet access, life expectancy as well, security. That's related to the example we're talking about Venezuela, when it went backwards and became more like as a command economy, like 10 years ago, with Hugo Chavez, nationalization for the communism of the 21st century, and we know how it's going, terribly. And then, of course, economic factors like GDP per capita, that's very important, the growth that is having, okay? And the spending. Please, could you read key risks and threat of emerging markets?
key risk and threat of emerging markets, political instability, cultural differences / sensitivities, variable approaches to financial and legal dealings, corruption and
Bureaucracy, basically the red tape.
actually still an issue. Emerging markets becoming major exporters, low cost production makes developed economies uncompetitive in some markets.
In some markets, okay. Take into account as well within the risk the financial aspect, the inflation that is increasing in those American countries, increasing credit, the debts that they do have, standard balance risk, and other risks that are also important. Okay, the property rights, we mentioned that, high levels of corruption.
Here in America, we are a developed country, which not doubting that at all as being very developed, but we're kind of on the backside of the development. We're kind of like on that, we've hit our peak in our plateau, now we're like going downhill. We're actually going back toward the all these countries that's non-developed. You know, it's kind of like the whole thing of Egypt, right? Egypt was like big developed country that's flourishing and was Mecca at one time where everybody was doing trading there, everybody was going there, and then all of a sudden it's just decline.
Well, but this is as well related to the social aspect of, we say, crime, murders, and political instability. All the words, potential for terrorism, as you have there. Okay, so this is something that we do have to take into account as well. With certain countries, can be risky.